Today on Woodturning, we're going to make a flat-sided vase.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best-in-class carbide wood-turning tools. This is an interesting project, and it came about because I'm cheap. I am cheap. I had a wonderful piece of shoe oak years ago, and it was exactly 4 inches wide, and it was just about this tall too, and I didn't want to waste any of it. So I thought, how can I make a project out of it? And I started turning it, wound up with these really cool flat sides, hollowed out the inside, did a really cool thing on the bottom like that. Hello. But anyway, it truly is true. I made a flat-sided vase because I always hate wasting wood, because if you look at my shelf up here, you can see I never waste anything. I save every tiny little scrap. So you got to make something out of those scraps. So today we're working with a really cool piece of olive wood that I have. I just cleaned up the face so you can see how pretty it is. And out of this, we're going to make one of these. Now, it's really critical you find your center on this piece, and I'm using my Lucky 13 ruler. I've got a slot in the center so I can put it on the corners, and corner to corner make a mark. Now, since this is waxed, it's a little hard to see, but there's my mark there. So I'm going to go corner to corner again and line that up. And so this is not going to be perfect because this blank was, well, it's cut a long time ago. It's been on my shelf for a long time, so it's not exactly square. I've done the other side on there. So what I want to do now is we'll bring up our tailstock, and we've got a little prong drive in there. Oh, one thing that's important is you can see this is the end grain right here. So I want the end grain running like this. I want this to be a spindle turning. And if you do it the other way, it's going to make it more difficult because you'll be chipping off the edges as you turn. So this being a spindle turning will make it much easier to keep these corners from getting chipped off. So bring this in here. Now, why am I going to all this trouble on this? Let me see if I can get that in that little hole there. Is I'm having to make sure that this side right here, or let me put it this way, you can see it this way. This side right here is the same distance as this side from when I cut. So it's going to take me a little futzing and moving it back and forth and measuring with my tool rest right here. But I want to get this exactly parallel that way. If it's off, then the sides of your vessel are off. So let's see, let's go here. So that's 2 3/4, and that's 2 1/2. So I'm going to shift this a little bit this way. This might take a while, so I'll catch up with you later. Well, we're close enough for jazz here. I think I'm 1/8 of an inch off, but once you start poking holes in the ends of your blank like that, it's really hard to get a new hole started. So it's pretty good. But you can see why I'm having to do this between centers too, because you can see this blank is awkwardly shaped. The way it dried out, the whole blank shifted. So don't trust your eyes, trust your rulers. What I want to do is we're going to turn this, I don't know which end I'm working on yet, but the whole idea is we just want to start getting this curve established right here. And so that's just going to take a little bit of roughing out. And I'm going to grab my big old Easy Wood tool. I love this one because it's got a little bit of a radius scraper on there. I like that a lot better than a straight one because it seems like it nibbles better for me. But different strokes, different folks. I'm on center there. We're going to turn this on slowly and see how things go. Make sure I've got everything locked down. Ooh, you can feel the air off that one. So you want to take this gently, and we're just going to nibble it around and slowly work into a curve shape. Getting close. You can see I upgraded to a face shield because I was getting whacked by all the chips. Duh, you think I would have learned by now. Let's look at the wood. Oh, that curve looks great. See how crisp the edge is here? That's why we're doing a spindle turning, because if it was end grain coming this way, it'd be tearing out like crazy. And man, look at the, oh, there's chatoyance in there. This is incredible. So the next thing is, this thing is probably sitting here about like this. It's a little close to the camera there. You can see it better, Brian. But it's sitting like this. I've got to start curving in now on the edges to start getting to here. One mistake I made in the original one, this is the first part I turned, and you can see that it is right on the edge of this. So when I went to sand this flat and clean it up, that was almost destroyed. I got smarter up here and made it go in further. So hopefully I'll make this foot go in as far as that went in, and it'll work a little bit better. So we're just going to start working in to make the neck and the foot of this piece. We can go from there. Now, I've been very carefully nibbling my way in here, and I'm kind of like bailing out a bit because I'm getting a little nervous. Do a pull cut here just to clean it up a bit. So our goal is we want to make, not bad. You can see we got our oval right here going. Now it gets tricky because if you look at this, so we got our shape going, but you can see the shape kind of goes underneath that lip. And so this is proud of that. So in other words, to make this part right here, I got to curve in more, but I've got to leave wood up here. So instead of curving it all the way to the end now, I'm going to start curving like this, come in here, and I'm going to start diving in like that. So by doing that little dive in there, now I'm starting to leave room for a lip. Now I can always reduce the lip, but I can't add any wood back onto this part here. So if I screw up this part, then the design changes. But you can see how it's working. Now the curve is coming here, and it's going to eventually go there when I do the lip. You want to make this and this symmetrical. No problem, right? So just take your time and nibble away at it, and you'll get to where you want to be. So now I'm doing a pull cut because I'm futzing with the shape on the piece. I explain that by stopping this. And let me go a little further here. Oh, by the way, I do want to thank our sponsors, Robust Lathes and Easy Wood Tools, because without them we would not be here. So I like their products and I use them. If you like their products, buy them. And by the way, I am a Robust dealer, so if you want a lathe, give me a call. Let's take a look here real quick. So what I'm trying to do is to get this shape symmetrical. I don't want this fatter here and thinner here. I'm really pretty close there. That looks spot on. You can see I've got the point, this corner established. So from this point, I'm going to start working on the feet. I don't mind if the foot is a little thicker than the top. That way it gives it a little flow up. But I think we're about where we're going to be. This is cool. And I'm doing the pull cut because it makes a nice smooth finish on here. It'll be less sanding. I'm going to clean that up a little bit before I head on to the ends here though. So I'm following in my curve now to start making the lip. And I've been taking the lip off like this, just making a stem. And then I stop it and check it to see how far in I am. So you can see now this, I've got a shoulder here, so that's not bad. I might go in a little bit more here. The idea is you just want to make sure that you have that foot here that we're doing going in further than the sides, because you can't sand the sides if this is sticking out too far. So we'll take a little bit more off here. Now you could be using a spindle gouge. I just happen to have a bowl gouge on my hand right now. But all you're wanting to do is make a bead now and just roll that off like so. I'm going to actually switch to a spindle gouge because I won't stay. I want to come back this way. And there's a catch. So you've got to make sure you have this at the proper angle. I went in way too straight. I wasn't thinking. I was talking. There we go, like so. So you can't put wood back on, so you want to be very careful in this area. So that's a nice little bead there. Come here like so. And let's see, I've connected that up. And that's looking pretty good right there. So I'm going to curve this on down, go over to this side, wash and rinse and repeat, and then come back here and we're going to make a tenon. So now we're on the chuck. What happened? Well, I wanted to put a worm screw in this to begin with so I could do a recess on this end so we could hold it and hollow it. But since the blank was not straight, we had to get it straight first. Then once it was straight, I took it over to the drill press and I was able to drill a perfectly straight wormhole screw. So now this is perfectly centered here. We don't have to worry about anything like that. So what I'm going to do now is by holding it here, we're going to go in here and make a recess that we can expand the jaws into to hold it for the hollowing. So how do we sand this sucker? Because we have this big flat spot, then we have curved spots, flats, right? You will sand it with it moving here in a second. We'll start it up. But just make sure you don't get too aggressive and start really rounding off this edge. It's going to hit the leading edge every time. What we're going to do later is sand this flat so it'll clean up anything, make it sharper again. But just make sure you don't overdo it. And you're going to have to do some hand sanding at one point probably. Fun, I know. Welcome to the world's easiest way to hollow. Grab a big Forstner bit. What I've been doing off camera for a little bit is I got these different bits and I've been working from small to large. God, they're hot. And anyway, so now we worked our way up to this Forstner bit and we're going to drill in. Just make sure you don't pick one that is wider than this thing because then it'll look kind of dumb. It's going to make a little noise. It's going to be a little aggressive. It's going to jiggle a little bit, but it's well worth the fun. Here goes. So good, we're as deep as we need to be. Now I just want to round this lip off a little bit. Turn this back up. I'm also going to take a stick and go inside and sand that inside. Because we just want to clean it up just a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want to be very careful on a lip like this because you can get a catch pretty quickly. And if you use a scraper like this, it's usually a little gentler. And once I get this where I want it to, I'll sand the lip and finish that off also. So what I'm doing is I have my sanding disc on here and I'm readjusting or flattening what I got on here. This was scraped up before, but it also reestablishes this nice sharp edge. You can see over here it's rounded off a little bit soft, so when I do this side it'll get sharp again just like this. I'm going to go through a couple of grits, then we'll be ready to put a finish on this nice piece of olive wood. I am loving this olive wood. This is some incredible stuff. Here, let me show you. You know, Woodturner's pouring here. You get to watch it from the beginning. So there we go. Wipe it on. Look at that chatoyance in there. This is an incredible piece of wood. It's been sitting on my shelf for a couple decades. I'm not kidding. So it's all dried out as much as olive wood can be dry. It has a high oil content, so you don't want to, I really don't want to mess with the polyurethane because it'd be harder to get the polyurethane to stick. But oh my goodness, I'm going to keep putting this on, but there you go. That is how you make a flat-sided vase, and I think this thing is spectacular. So until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools.